أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين مولانا أبو القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين مولانا أبو القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المظلومين المعصومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا مودة في القربى اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the blessed Quran, the Holy Quran, it is that of which Allah gives good tidings to His servants who believe and do righteous deeds. Say, O Muhammad, I do not ask for you for this message any payment or reward except the goodwill through the near ones to me. Whomsoever commits a good deed, we will increase for him good therein. Indeed, Allah is forgiving and appreciative. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me begin by giving you my heartfelt congratulations on the beautiful weeks that we are in. Just last week, we celebrated the Eid of Sayyida Zahra alayhi salam, or as they say in the Arab culture, Farhat Zahra alayhi salam, in which we marked to a small degree justice towards the enemies of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam and Bibi Pak Zahra salamullahi alayha. And now we approach a second Eid, Eid Milad al-Nabi, the Eid in which we celebrate the wilada, the birth of not just one but two members of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Celebrating the happiness and joy of the Ahlulbayt. Why do we do it? And why should we do it? When Ali Shan asked me to discuss this topic and specifically discuss to a degree why do we include their celebration within our celebration, and why do we make a point of remembering them when we are celebrating our happiness, such as you today are celebrating the first birthday of your son Al-Yasr. So why is it that we have chosen this occasion, except for the obvious reasons being that it's within the two Eids, but generally why do we bring the celebration of Ali Muhammad alayhi salam into our celebration? And I felt that it's particularly an appropriate topic in this period that we find ourselves in. Why? Because we have just finished 60 or so days of Azar, 60 or so days and nights in which we remember solely and no other except Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, his companions, his ashab, his family, his ahl, and those that were with him, and his sister and his son Imam al-Sajjad and Bibi Pak Zainab alayhim salam in Kufa and in Sham, as well as ending this period with the remembrance of Imam Hassan alayhi salam and his shahadat, of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his shahadat, and of the shahadat of Imam al-Asqari alayhi salam, before we then commemorate or mark the Eid of al-Zahra salamullahi alayha. And in this period we also remember the burning of the door of Bibi Pak Zahra salamullahi alayha and the attack on the family of Rasulullah in Medina. So having gone through this lengthy period of mourning, and that list I just gave you is a brief list of some of the shahadats we mark in these 60 or so days and nights, we then switch gear and we are into a period of celebration. So it's really, I felt appropriate that with that juxtaposition or potential juxtaposition of going in the space of days from the morning to the celebration, but why do we do it? And why do we make an effort that in our times of happiness we remember their happiness? Recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. The ayat of the Quran that I opened with today talks about the reward, or appropriately the lack of reward that Rasulullah requested from the Ummah for his message. Putting it in simpler terms, the Quran here is referring to the fact that Rasulullah asked for nothing in return for what he gave us and the Muslims in general. Rasulullah did not ask for any monetary reward or for anyone to recognize his status or any such thing. Yet, or except for the mawadda, the love towards his near ones. So then why? Why do we celebrate? One reason straight away we are given here, and it's a considerably weighty reason, because through the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is making a request that we mark and commemorate and celebrate and hold near his dear ones, his Ahlulbayt alayhi salam. We do, of course, though, then have to ask the question, who are these near ones? And it's important, as part of this topic of celebrating them, that we do establish who they are, as well as why we celebrate them. You may say it's obvious from the hadith, and for you and I, because we've been brought up in a household or in households where when we say the near ones to Rasulullah, there is no debate who we're referring to, but it is important nonetheless that we define for the wider audience that may be listening. In the event of Qisa, when Jibreel comes and Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhimus salam, Bibi Bakr Zahra salamullahi alayha, one by one come and enter the Qisa, there is a side narration that at one point one of the wives, in some narrations it said Salama, comes and asks, can I also join? Am I also a part of this ahl, this family? To which she is told that in this moment specifically it is referring to these five and these five alone. Meaning that being married to Rasulullah or being connected to Rasulullah is not enough. At this time, in this hadith, in these conversations taking place between Rasulullah, his family, Jibreel and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is referring to a very specific number of people. So like we say, that the marriage or that relationship was not enough in this instance. Alongside that, and equally important, we have our own emotions. We have our own heartfelt desires and heart-led desires. We declare throughout our lives that apni khushi mein unki khushi, apne gham mein unka gham. In our times of happiness, we remember their times of happiness. In our times of happiness, we celebrate them. And in our times of difficulty or in our times of sadness, we remember their sadness. We remember their tragedy. We remember their musibah. And truly we see that is very much the case. There are very few times in our lives we begin a function, be it a marriage or even one of our children's birthday parties, an aqiqah ceremony, a gathering of the mu'mineen, that we will not recite at least one hadith siksa, remembering the joy of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam. And you will never find a janazah leaving a masjid other than the masahib of Ahlulbayt is being remembered by the family members, other than the mulana is reciting the musibah of Ali Muhammad. Amongst Muslims and amongst the people, the inhabitants of the earth, the mu'mineen, the lovers of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and the ahl of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Rasulullah, are amongst the luckiest. Why? Because conventionally there are two Eids celebrated, and this is a very important point. If we're ever accused that we only mourn, we have one of the most blessed gifts to us in what? We don't have just two Eids, we have at least five of the conventional Eids, we're going to call them. Eid al-Ghadir, Eid al-Zahra, Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, Eid Milad al-Nabi, or Eid al-Mubahila we can put in there as well. We've already reached 6. Beyond which we are told every Jummah is an Eid for the mu'mineen. And there are many other occasions. Why is this important? Because Eid is a day of rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Eid is a day in which blessings of Allah are bestowed upon us. Eid is a day in which the du'as that we hold in our hearts are answered for us. And Eid is a day in which we can benefit from those blessings and those ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah has given us 5, 6, 7 at least, if not we include every Friday, then we're going even further, opportunities to benefit from that rahmah of His. And then we have entire months, the month of Shaban, the month of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, and the princes of Karbala. Wiladat al-Husayn alayhi salam, Wiladat al-Ghazi Abbas alayhi salam, Wilada Ali Akbar alayhi salam, Wilada Ali Asghar alayhi salam, Wilada Bibi Pak Zainab alayhi salam. And the 15th, the Wilada of the one whose banner is Thar al-Hussein, Ya la Tharat al-Hussein, justice for Hussein. Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajal farajah. So we've been given many opportunities for us to celebrate. No doubt we mourn, no doubt we remember, but we also celebrate in equal amounts. And our Eids are no small Eids. Our Eids are not secondary Eids or lesser in status. No, rather when we look at the hadith of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam, we then begin to ponder how great these Eids are. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says in a beautiful hadith, the day of Ghadir is the grand Eid of God. Allah has not sent any prophet unless he celebrated this Eid and glorified Allah. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. We call ourselves the Ja'faris, from whom we take our fiqh, from whom we take so many of our lessons. He is saying that Ghadir is that Eid that if the prophets did not celebrate it, they were not sent to us. It was a prerequisite, it was a condition upon them that they marked Ghadir as a day of Eid. And Imam Reza says in another hadith, the day of Ghadir is more popular among the dwellers of the heavens than among the dwellers of the earth. If the people knew the value of this day, no doubt angels would shake hands with them 10 times a day. That is the status of the day, of a day like the day of Ghadir. And while these hadiths may not strictly be on our topic, the reason we share them with you is to emphasize with you the importance of these blessed days and show you that we do uphold celebration, show you that it is not something that we do only out of the joy of our heart, but it's something that we do because we've been taught. It's something that the prophets did. It's something that the angels are doing on days like the day of Ghadir. I will share one final hadith with you and then I'll wrap up. Forgive me if we've taken too much of your time. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, the famous companion who narrates Hadith al-Qisa, who narrates the Waqi of Arba'in, who is narrating many different hadith and who is blessed to have not only been a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but a companion of at least 5 Imams. He narrates that one day I went to Imam Baqir alayhi salam and I said to him, Ya ibn Rasulullah, O son of Rasulullah, give me a hadith about the fazilat of your grandmother Az-Zahra salamullahi alayha, that when it is narrated in a gathering of the Shia, they are brought to joy and happiness upon them. Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, O Jabir, it was narrated to me by my father Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salam from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, that on the day of judgment, يعني يوم القيامة, the prophets and the messengers will have members of Nur brought forward for them. And my member, meaning Rasulullah, because he is the one who is narrating the hadith, saying, my member will be the tallest and the highest amongst them. And at this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, I will call out, O Muhammad, recite a khutbah. Such a khutbah will be recited that the other prophets, the other messengers will say, we have never heard a khutbah like this. And then the members will be brought forth of Nur for the walis, the wasis of the prophets and the messengers. And my wasi, my wali, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, his member will be the highest amongst all of these. Again Allah will call out, O Ali, recite a khutbah, and Ali ibn Abi Talib will recite such a khutbah that the other walis and wasis will call out, we have never heard a khutbah like this. And then the children of the prophets and messengers will have members of Nur brought forth for them. And my 2 sons, my sweethearts, Hassan and Hussein, will have the highest of members. Allah will once again call out to recite a khutbah, my sons will recite a khutbah, such that the other children of the prophets and the messengers will say, we have never heard a khutbah like this. At this point, Hazrat Jibreel will call out, where is the darling daughter of Rasulullah? Where is Khadija bint Khuwaylid? Where is Asiya bint Mazahim? And where is Bibi Kulthum, the mother of Nabi Yahya? The entire mahshar, the hadith says, will stand in their honor. Allah will call out, O Ahl Mahshar, O people of the Mahshar, to whom is your praise? Rasulullah, Sayyidah Zahra alayhi salam, Wala Ali alayhi salam, Wala Hassan, Wala Hussein alayhi salam will all respond that all praise is to you, Ya Khuda. And then Allah will call out, O Ahl Mahshar, indeed Izzat and Azmat have been given to Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein alayhim salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. O Ahl Mahshar, lower your heads and close your eyes such that Fatima may move towards the gates of heaven. As Bibi Pak Zahra reaches the gates, the hadith says she will turn. Allah will say, O daughter of Rasulullah, O daughter of my Habib, O daughter of my beloved, why do you stop and turn when I ask you to enter? Bibi Zahra alayhi salam responds, O my Lord, on this day of Yawmul Qiyamah, I wish for my status to be shown. Allah responds, O daughter of my beloved, turn back and take any from amongst these people who have love for you or love for your children and take them towards the heavens. Imam Baqir continues, he takes a qasam on Khuda and he says, O Jabir, on this day Bibi Fatima alayhi salam will pick out her muhibbeen in the way a bird picks the best of seeds from amongst a group of seeds. As she reaches back to the gate with her muhibbeen behind her following, they now will turn and look towards the gathered Ahlim Mashr. And they will say to Allah, O Allah, we also wish to show our maqam on a day like this. And Allah instructs them, O friends, go back, and anyone who has shown you love because of your love of Az-Zahra, or because of their love of Fatima have given food, or because of their love of Fatima have given a sharbat, or because of their love of Fatima have stopped from doing ghibat, or because of their love of Zahra have defended you, or because of their love of Zahra have given clothing to you, take their hands and guide them towards the heavens. Again, Imam al-Baqir, taking a qasam, says, no one will be left amongst now the people except those who had shak, the munafiqeen, and the ones who did not believe. Our reason for celebrating and remembering these 14 perfect lights is because we wish to attain this love of theirs. We wish to attain this wasila of theirs. We wish to attain this intercession of theirs in our lives, but also on the day when it most matters. Most of us, in my opinion, the biggest reason we do it is because we have the love of the Ahlulbayt in our hearts. That we wish to include their remembrance because we have that love. 1400 years we mourn. Why do we mourn? Because that love that we have. Because we were born into households that before we even entered the dunya, our mothers would teach us in their womb, Ya Ali. We were brought up on the blood and on the milk of wilayah. We were brought up doing matam before we could walk. We raised our hands for Nare Hadri before we could even feed ourselves. That love that we have, that's what ignites that fire for that mourning. It's not a coincidence that we mourn for 1400 years. And in the same way, it's that love that ignites that fire for celebration. Because that level of emotion and love we have, that means we will strike our chests for them. Means that when they are happy, we are over the moon. Their happiness is our happiness. Their joy is our joy. And our goal is to attain their happiness, as we said. May Allah bless you. And may Allah always protect you. Because you as a family are extremely devoted to upholding the celebration and the mourning of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam. You as a family, each and every one of you, in your own way makes an effort to ensure Majalis Hussein never stops, Jashan all of the Ahlul Bayt never stops. You as a family make an effort, some of you recite Noha, mashallah, some of the youngest Haider and Jafar have begun to recite Masa'ib, making that extra effort to build their connection with the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. As a family, from youngest to oldest, you all make that effort to ensure you upkeep, you give that niyaz. Go back to that hadith, even someone who gave food in the love of Zahra, bring them into Jannah. And people like you, inshallah, will lead people like me, that when the hadith says that as Bibi Pak takes them, they turn back and they say, we wish to take someone, because of their love of Zahra, because of their love for us, because of our love of Zahra. When you give opportunities for us to come and remember the blessed family with you, we hope that that intercession of yours will be there along with us, with Bibi Pak Zahra salamullahi alayha, and that we may gather with them in the hereafter. And mashallah, today is the first birthday of your son Alishan. It's a blessing. You've named him Al-Yaskar after Rabi al-Awwal, one of our greatest members of the Ahlulbayt, and who in 6 months taught us and showed us things that we couldn't achieve in our whole life. It's mind-boggling what a 6-month-old did on that day of Ash-shuraa. We pray for your son that inshallah your son is able to follow in the footsteps of who he was named after and be as big an inspiration and a bigger lead for his fellow youth as Hazrat Al-Yaskar alayhi salam was, and that you and Sarah are blessed in being parents, always protected as is he, and that you are blessed with more children and the continued lovers of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam, such that these jashans and majalis that you have organized continue for many generations after you and us, inshallah. Congratulations. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.